Folks, I'm here with the world-famous, perhaps even infamous, Joe Breeze, one of the revolutionary mountain bikers of all time. Joe has been a part of one of the most, or probably one of the most epic and revolutionary rides of all time in the Pearl Pass ride. In 1978, you first made your first appearance at the annual Pearl Pass ride. And tell us about it, Joe.
Yeah, there were 6 of us from Marin that made it out to Crested Butte that year. Wendy Craig, Charlie Kelly, Michael Costelli, me and Gary. And I guess there were 5 of us? Oh, am I forgetting somebody? Maybe. Anyway, just a crew. We had heard about this thing. It was one of the first mountain bike stories ever written up. It was for Coevolution Quarterly. Came out in, I don't know, about early '78. But in December '77, when they interviewed us, they said, "Hey, you know, there's some guys out in Crested Butte doing the same thing. These old Schwinn bikes with rescued from a junkyard somewhere and resurrected on the streets of Crested Butte." And we were just blown away by this. It was like, well, we just thought we were the only ones doing it, right?
And this is like '76. That was the first year, right?
Well. Yeah, it was '76. The writer for Coevolution Quarterly lived just over the hill from Crested Butte, and Rob Nilsson, and so he came out to interview us in Marin County out in California, and said these guys are doing almost the exact same thing out there in Crested Butte. So we just figured, hey, we gotta find these guys and go do this. So we called them up early in '78. Charlie Kelly called them. And said, hey, we heard about your event. We want to come out. And they're like, hey, really? Okay, come on out. And so, so half a year passed, and there we are driving out there to Crested Butte over Kebler Pass down into town, and a great-looking place. Just what a spot. This is paradise here. And and of course it's September, and the aspens are at their peak, and we're coming over Kebler from Paonia. We're just every turn we're stopping and getting out the camera. Wendy Craig's with us, right? She's got her Nikons burning through the film. And we finally make it into town and find the guys there down at the grub steak. What characters?
And now they're on the resurrected Schwinns. They're on the clunkers of old, if you will.
They've gone down to the Denver dump, and they found these bikes. Now, the way they got started, Dave, is they... I think there was a slow year. You know, it's a destination ski resort, or it was then, more maybe than now. They were coming out a lot from Atlanta, and they'd all booked their tickets, and snow or no snow, they were going to make their flight out to Crested Butte. Well, it was a bad year, and there was little snow, and so the Crested Butteians jackknifed into action to provide entertainment other than snow sports, and they had these bikes from the Denver dump for just riding in town, and they made these obstacle courses in town and stuff, and so the bike thing, I guess, grew out of that, and they thought, well, you know what, I think the real impetus, once they got rolling on that avenue, these guys every year would come in from Aspen on their motocross bikes, right, and they'd line them up in front of the Grub Steak Saloon, you know, and there's like all hot shots, and these guys in Crested Butte going, oh, Aspenites, nah.
We'll show them up.
We'll show them how it's done. And so they get bicycles, you know, so we're going to ride, we're going to pedal over Pearl Pass, top that. You know, they go down to the Hotel Jerome, park up the old Schwinns out in front on the main drag there, and just, you know, thumb their nose. Yeah. Thumb their noses at the Aspenites, you know. So, and then they called it, I don't know, first annual. So I guess there had to be a second, except they were most of them were the Crested Butte Hot Shots. So they fought the wildfires often in the fall, right, when it's driest, and in the fall of 1977, it was a blazing hot year and with a lot of blazing fires, and so they were too busy inhaling smoke. So, but anyway, we found out about that ride early '78. We went out there. And so when we showed up, I wasn't so certain they were actually going to do the ride. They, that first year it happened, and there wasn't a second year, and it's like they were amazed that we showed up. Oh, you're here. And are you guys going to do it? And there was Wendy Cragg with us, a woman, and they said, well, is she going to do it? And Wendy says, yeah, I'm doing it. I says, okay, well, I guess we're going to do it. So the third annual, second actual Pearl Pass Tour actually happened that year.
Right on. And now you guys showed up from Marin County with the first ever, really, chromoly handmade breezer bikes. Technically, you're accused of cheating, if I was correct, right? Because, again, the Bution to the locals.
Oh, my gosh. Maybe not only accused of cheating, but bringing in a forbidden material. They asked what the frames were made out of, the breezer frames, and there they are, were lying on the sidewalk there in front of the Grub Steak Saloon. I remember, I think it was Jim Cloud, asking me, what are those frames made out of? And I said, oh, it's chromoly steel. And says, Moly? Like as in molybdenum?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, yeah, molybdenum. I says, see that mountain up there, Mount Emmons? It's full of moly. And AMAX wants to tear it out. And we don't want them to tear down our mountain.
It's a matter of contention.
And I said, well, yeah, there's some molybdenum in the frame. It's like a trace element, or it's an alloying element. It's less than 1%, and it's like, okay, well, okay.
But it didn't take long as they're pushing their bikes up over Pearl Pass. You guys are riding them, and you make it up and over, and I'm sure they wanted those bikes at that point.
Well, yeah, they also knew we were cheating on another front, too, and that we were racers.
You guys had trained.
We had trained out on the road, not down at the local bar. And although it was difficult to match their spirit, and they had spunk, and they had sustenance, and they lost some of it early on in the ride that next morning, but anyway, they carried on and really showed true grit, getting up to Cumberland Basin at, what's that, 10,800 or something.
Pretty close to it, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, to the camp. Yep. Right. It was a 2-day.
That's where the beer was. That's what they knew they had to get to.
That's right. There was incentive to get to camp. Yes. Yeah.
Right on. So tell us, since Pearl Pass, since 1978, and again being here at the 8th annual Handmade Bike Show, what has been the most significant change in bicycling? I mean, I don't want to skip from 78 till now, but what do you think of the show, and how do you think about modern materials, the stuff you're seeing here? We got bamboo across the way. What do you think about the show?
Well, I haven't seen the whole show, but what I've seen, a lot of really, it's. I go to the trade show, the bicycle trade show every year, in Las Vegas and one in Germany. And yeah, a lot of good things at those shows, but this is like dense pack on the really cool stuff. This is every booth you'll go by. There's that's amazing, and there's some new thought, and this is ground zero for innovation at the hand-built show here. I saw a steel bike that weighed 10 pounds, road racing bike. And I've seen a lot of really good work. Some of it's stylized bikes. My favorite are bikes that are lightweight and mechanically efficient, fun to ride, put a smile on your face because of how fast you're able to go with what you got in your legs. That's the beauty of bikes for me is that mechanical efficiency possibility. Driving the most efficient form of transport ever devised. And to make it the best that's just a great puzzle for me.
Right, and again, talk about chromoly frames versus what Breezer's putting out there now, the Cloud 9s. I mean, unbelievable bike.
Carbon fiber, we're doing aluminum, we're doing steel. We have a steel road racing bike and frame, and also steel 29ers. But those materials are all great in their own ways. It's more to do with how they're put together. To make that lightweight structure with that whichever of those 4 materials or 5 materials, including bamboo, You know, it's just to make the structure the best you can. Yeah.
When are you coming out to ride Pearl Pass again with us?
Oh my gosh! You know, I came out for the 30th anniversary. Was it the 30th anniversary?
Sure, Mountain Bike Hall of Fame.
Yeah, 2008ish. Yeah. That would be no, 2006ish, right?
2006,
yeah. It snowed, so we didn't actually make it over the top that year. Yeah, I'll be coming out again. You know, Charlie Kelly and Gary Fisher, and I remember having breakfast one morning down at the Forest Queen along in there, maybe 1979 or something. We had been coming out. This was our second time. Maybe it was the third time, 1980. And we were just saying to each other, wow, this is an event I'm always going to come back to. And we did it for, I don't know, up until 1990 or something toward there anyway. It's beautiful out there. But, you know, I really enjoyed coming out in July when the wildflowers are busting out, and there's so many great times to ride there. It's my son's favorite place to ride.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, Joe, thank you a ton for stopping by, chatting with us, especially giving us the rich cultural history. That's what we all need, especially when, you know, modern times have taken over in a way. But super glad to have you. Thank you for doing what you did and creating what we all love more than anything, man. You're one of the godfathers. We love you.
Just having fun, Dave.
Thank you, man. Joe Breeze, ladies and gentlemen.